Hello, everybody. My name's Jeff. I'm Director of Youth Ministries for Grand Rapids Episcopal Youth, which is in the Grand Rapids area. So, in the little Michigan map here, about right there. And in addition to that, I also teach yoga. So, today I'm going to lead you through connecting the body and breath to compassion's gift of welcome. So, yoga was developed thousands of years ago in ancient India, and it was designed as a way for people to connect mind, body, and spirit with the divine, with God. Fast forward many hundreds of years later, and many people, regardless of faith tradition, practice yoga in lots of different ways. So I'm glad to be able to bring that practice to you. And you may be thinking, well, I've never done yoga. I can't touch my toes. So you can do what you can with this. You could even bring a chair in and maybe do some of the postures from a seated position in the chair. You could sit and breathe. Really, the heart of yoga is the breath. The first thing we always think of, though, are the poses and postures. But the breath is really the core of yoga. And the physical act of breathing really teaches us how to receive and release. And when I lead you through this breath work, married to some common yoga poses, we can really reflect on our theme of welcome and open hearts and compassion. We can learn how to release things that we need to let go of, and how to accept and welcome others. And with that, let's start out with our first posture. You can do this again, maybe seated in a chair, on your couch, or down in a simple cross-legged position, just like this. And with a really tall spine, and let your hands rest on your lap. And we're going to take 3 rounds of breath, and if you can, through your nose. And when we inhale, I want you to say the words, I see. Take a deep breath in and say that. And then when we exhale, say, and I welcome. Inhale, I see. And exhale, I welcome. One more time. Inhale, I see. And exhale, I welcome. And notice how you feel here. And then from here, I'll invite you to try another foundational yoga pose, child's pose. So you're going to bring your knees about the width of a yoga mat apart. You'll bring your big toes together so they're touching, and get really tall in the spine here. And then exhale. So you're inhaling to get really long in the spine, and then exhale, surrendering forward. So reaching forward with the palms. Your forehead can come down to the mat, or you can rest it on a pillow. And this pose, child's pose, is really grounding and centering. It brings us very close to the earth, to God's creation, and to God's Spirit within each and every one of us. Each inhale, really lengthen out of the spine in each direction. And then exhale, maybe you see if you can Let the hips get a little closer to the heels. So maybe 3 breaths here. And then next inhale, slowly come up. So come up to fingertips, lift the forehead up, and then you'll slowly come up to a tabletop position. So fingers spread wide, hips over knees, shoulders over wrists, nice flat back. You move the crown of the head forward so neck is really long. And just kind of explore how it feels in this nice stable tabletop posture. So the tabletop, our tables are where we regroup and come together for meals, often sometimes not until the end of the day, but it's a place where we can connect with others, we can welcome others. There's space for everyone at God's table. So 3 breaths here, or maybe you go for 5, whatever feels right to you here. And then we'll curl the toes under. We'll send the hips back towards the heels, but still press really firmly into the floor with the hands. And then inhale, we'll lift the knees up off the mat, and then exhale, send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. So each of these poses have a Sanskrit name, the ancient Indian name. And so this one, we didn't talk about the first 2, but this one is Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. And so here we're really stretching our bodies. So 4 legs here. And maybe you pedal out the feet very gently. And stretching the body, preparing it for what's to come. And then inhale, forward to plank pose. So you can do that on tall arms with flat palms. You can do it on fists or forearms with fingers interlaced together. But really keep the hips level with the spine really long. And then if you can, briefly, if you're not up already on tall arms, head there. And then we'll shift forward from the toes, so shoulders over wrists, and then lower down, elbows bend, hugging the side bodies, lower all the way down to the mat or the floor. And then inhale, we'll press up with tall arms, hearts forward for Adho Mukha Svanasana, so upward facing dog. And breathe here for a couple of breaths. So our hearts are open to receive what's to come, what's ahead in the day, or if you're watching this, doing this later in the day, what's ahead tomorrow. And then from here, after your 3rd breath, you can curl the toes back under, and then with really strong arms, press firmly into the mat. Inhale, hips up and back, and for downward facing dog again. Great job, everybody. So 3 breaths here in Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then maybe inhale, that 4th inhale, you come up on tiptoes, and then exhale, bend the knees, look forward between the hands, and we'll walk right up there, right into a standing forward fold. Uttanasana. 3 breaths here. And then inhale slowly, 1 step at a time here. Bone stacking on bone. Slowly rise up to standing. Arms down by the side bodies. Palms facing forward. Feet hips width apart. Into Tadasana, mountain pose. And then if you'd like, you could do all the poses we just did, starting with tabletop, a couple more times and go through that whole sequence from tabletop to downward dog to plank, plank, lower down to your belly, and then lift up into upward facing dog with strong arms. And then press up and back with the hips and back into downward facing dog. 3 breaths in each pose. And walk the feet up to the hands in a forward fold. Take a breath. And then another there. And then slowly come up into this pose, Tadasana. And then to end practice, on the next inhale, we'll draw the arms up and overhead, palms facing up and then coming together. And then exhale, they come together and down to heart center. We bow our head towards the fingertips, and at the end of yoga, we always say Namaste, which means the light in me recognizes and honors the light within you, recognizing that we're all children of God. Namaste. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to moving with you again in the next few weeks. And hope you're enjoying Compassion Camp at home. We're glad to have you here. Take care.